I'm not fucking leaving. The show goes on. This is my home.
The show does indeed go on. Welcome to the Bison Overtime Show. I'm Graham alongside Ethan Eibach. And welcome to the 100th Bison Overtime Show on YouTube. 6 seasons, 100 episodes. Shout out to our past hosts, Logan Gutenberg, Vinny Anderson, Malik Mitchell, Dash Menzel, Alex Dusky for making this show a reality. We're proud to continue the legacy of this program. Playoff football is here, my friend.
Yeah, but we're still going to talk about FBS football somehow here in Fargo. But
yeah.
We love our playoff games at least.
So before we get started, follow us on X for more content. Follower count 205. Appreciate that. The Watch Our 2 Cents, Charlotte and Hallie. They have a new show coming out probably Friday. We'll see when they do their show, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Before we get started on the football chatter, some basketball chatter here. Some Thanksgiving tournaments were played for the men and the women. The men, they split out in Jonesboro, Arkansas. They beat Jacksonville State 56-43, then lost in OT to the host of that tournament, Arkansas State, 85-80. They play Montana tonight in Missoula, and then they play Northern Arizona on December 6th. The Big Sky Challenge getting started. So, overtime loss on the road, then you beat a Jacksonville State team. That's okay. So you'll take what you can get out of it.
Yeah, I actually watched the overtime of that Arkansas State game. They had their opportunities, to say the least, but they still split in two opponents that are probably bigger schools than them, I'd say. So,
well, Jacksonville State, I think, is smaller.
Yeah.
But, oh, well. Bison women, talk about teams that are smaller than them. These two definitely fit that mold.
Yes.
The Bison went to Jacksonville, Florida, not Alabama, Jacksonville, Florida, and they played Campbell and Bethune-Cookman. They beat them both. They beat Campbell 71-49. They beat Bethune-Cookman 85-36. They play Montana State tonight at the Shack on CBS Sports Network. that's going to be a great game. Both teams are, I think, around the 70s in the net rankings, so that should be a good game. Then they play Weber State on December 6th. The women continue to get better.
Yeah, they're getting hot, and they got to get hot at the right time this year. That's been the issue the last couple of years. But they beat up on two opponents they should have beat up on. Yeah.
Coaching carousel, it's fast and furious this time of year in college football. Big one out of Manhattan, Kansas. Chris Kleiman is retiring at Kansas State. Again, this is his track record. 5 seasons at NDSU, 7 at Kansas State, 12 seasons overall as a D1 head football coach, 126-47 career record. That's a 728 winning percentage. Won 4 national championships and 5 Valley championships, and he won a Big 12 championship on top of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, could he get in the Hall of Fame for college football? I mean,
yes.
He should. He's got 4 national titles, and Kansas State was not exactly a big-time program, and they've started to elevate the expectations. They did win a Big 12 title in 2012.
My favorite quote, Brett McMurphy from On 3 Sports, he tweeted this out. It's my favorite. He said, I was quoting McMurphy here, I told Kansas Les Miles wore his this is at Big 12 Media Day in 2019. Les Miles wore his LSU national title ring and asked Kleiman why he didn't wear his national title rings in North Dakota State. Kleiman's response, I'd have 7 of them on. It would be a little heavy.
He's a winner.
I think that's his case for the College Football Hall of Fame. That quote right there should tell you all you need to know about him.
He's a winner.
He is a winner no matter where he goes.
He lost, 5 games at NDSU?
Yeah.
He's dominant.
All right. Other coaching carousel news. Both Brent Vigen and Tim Polasek are staying at their schools, as you've seen in the intro video that we showed early on. Polasek, so let's just start with Vigen. He wanted to stay at Montana State throughout the playoffs. That was the deal breaker for Oregon State. That's because the way college football is these days with these coaches, it's that if you sign with us, you are as good as gone. Like we saw with Lane Kiffin and LSU. If you want to go coach another team, you got to leave like that, and that's what Brent Vigen did not want.
Yeah, we'll address it a little bit later, but the signing day, it just cannot be this time of year. No. It's terrible. That's why coaches get fired. Like some of these people that have been watching college football for so long, they're like, why do coaches get fired so early now? It's because signing day is now, and you can't go through the bowl season with the coach that you're not going to have next year, or those guys are going to decommit.
Yep. Polasek, same thing. He also interviewed for the Oregon State job, but reportedly wasn't very interested in the interview. I mean, at least, I don't know what shows what kind of respect they have for the two coaches. They made vegan fly commercial, yet they flew to Fargo to interview Polasek. I don't know where those two were in the pecking order, but it is what it is. So Polasek is sticking around in Fargo. You couldn't have broke the news to us 2 hours earlier, Coach. Again, we're not throwing shade on you, but we're glad you're still here. 7-year contract extension through 2030. Through the 2033 season, say that 10 times fast. We don't know the dollar figure yet, but it's a significant raise. Additional staff money and program resources. What do you think those program resources entail?
Everyone automatically jumps to the FBS conclusion.
It's not that.
What else? I mean, they have the facilities to be
Yep.
FBS. The stadium obviously isn't in their control, but it must just be money to pay the coaches to keep them here. I just can't think of anything else.
But again, the quote that has hit home with Dom, because Tim said this on Dom's show. Tim said this: "I would not want to be on the other sideline of a Bison team that moved up."
Mm-hmm.
That tells you what you need to know about Tim Pauls. Unless a Big Ten job, not Michigan State or Kansas State, it's a Big 12 job, but unless Iowa or Wisconsin opens, he's here to stay, I think.
Yeah, I think if Iowa opened up and he was the top candidate, he would go. And Wisconsin, obviously, he's from Wisconsin,
Yep.
but he's not going to leave for Oregon State to go 4-8, and
No.
it's just not going to happen. He's here to stay.
But again, that brings up what we all talk about in this part of the world is the chances that NDSU is an FBS program in the near future. Again, so it's brought up on Hot Mic, and we're going to say it here on the show. The chance that they're an FBS program by 2027, that's the next window where there could be a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Dom said 65%. Kolpak says 50-50. I say less than 10%, okay? Just going to talk right to camera for and tell you why. Where are they going to go right now? That's the big thing for me right now is this is the same thing last year. It was almost the same time last year we had this conversation. Yeah. And where did that lead? Nowhere. Northern Illinois and UTEP, right? Were those the schools that got brought up instead of NDSU? I just don't see it happening. And it's not because I don't want to go FBS, because if we opened up our Twitter feed in the next 5 minutes and said Bison go to Mountain West, I'd be all for it. But they don't fit any geographical location. And I told us to Cash in the back before we started the show. They're stuck.
Yeah.
They're a victim of their own success right now. They're too good, and if I was the MAC of the Mountain West, if I'm Gloria Navarez, would I want to let a team into a conference that could win the league right away? I don't know even though your league would be more competitive and better in the future, I don't think presidents want to do that.
Yeah, and to answer the question for 2027, I'd say I'll go a little higher. I'll say 15 or 20%. And that's still super low compared to what other people are thinking.
Yep.
If you extended the deadline to 2030, that's 5 years down the road. I'd say a 50-60%.
Yep.
And to your point of the conference is not wanting a team to win their conference right away, if the Bison were to jump into like the MAC, the Mountain West, if the Missouri Valley Football Conference knew what would lead to the Bison jumping into their conference, do you think they still would have done it?
I don't know.
That's a tough question to answer because the Bison have won the conference 10 times out of 14 years.
Right.
Or 11 times out of 14 years.
Again, the Bison got 3 votes in the AP Top 25 poll this week, okay? Other schools that got votes, Tennessee, out of the top 25, Tennessee, Houston, Iowa, UNLV, Mountain West, New Mexico, South Florida, SMU, Iowa State, Arizona State, Louisville, UConn, the Bison, Illinois, Washington, Pittsburgh, San Diego State. I think the Bison would be, other than Tennessee, they would be slight underdogs or perhaps a favorite against a couple of those schools.
Yeah, they'd for sure beat Pitt, I think.
I think they beat Pitt.
Seeing what happened against Miami, I had high hopes for Pitt. Not a good team. It'd be nice to beat Washington with the coach that they have that was at Arizona when he was, I would say, kind of a jerk in that game. Illinois, they would beat. There's a lot of teams that they would beat, and Iowa would be tough. Tennessee would be tough, but they could compete. That's the point.
Yeah. Back to FCS chatter, because they do still play in FCS for the time being anyway. We got some FCS portal updates to talk about.
Yeah, I did some research. The guys that are in the portal, some reported, some not reported. But according to 247 Sports, we saw Flash Wilson go in the portal.
Did he hold on to the football?
That's
also, I'm going to add a name in there quick because we'll talk about this later in the show. Mason King, the Illinois State running back, he is in the transfer portal, by the way.
Wow.
So they're down to Winkers Wright and Victor Dawson. 2 pretty good options,
Yeah.
but anyways, continue.
Hey, by the way, Flash Wilson, Mason King, if you're open to living in Fargo,
We'll
come
take
on.
you. I'll take back any comments about Flash Wilson when it comes to Fargo.
Flash Wilson.
Anyways, continue.
He's got 1 year left. Youngstown's second leading tackler, safety, Makai Shahid, I think is how you. Yeah, he's got 2 years left. Cal Davis, this affects the Bison. They might play him next week. Their second leading rusher, Carter Vargas, he's got 3 years left. He's in the portal. Northern Arizona's running back, Seth Cromwell, entered the portal. He's their leading rusher. 1 year left. And Monmouth, the second they didn't get in the playoffs, they got gutted. Their leading rusher, their leading receiver, their second leading receiver, and their leading tackler, gone.
Yep.
All have 1 year except for the safety. He has 2 years left. And then Nick Osho, the Bison saw him. He was their leading rusher.
Player.
Yeah, great player.
Good player.
He's got 1 year left. I wouldn't mind him coming to Fargo either. And Yeah, bring him on. But Western Carolina, Malik Knight, 700 receiving yards, high-powering offense. He's got 1 year left, and he's entering the portal. This is the biggest one, Joshua Dye. He has 2 years left. He's a Walter Payton finalist, leading rusher in all of FCS. This is a guy that's going to be playing Power 5 football.
I think he finished fourth because Teron Dickens was the third candidate. So I think it was all three quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, you're
I think he was fourth on that list.
He was in the top 30
top
guys.
8, top 10, whatever it was. Yeah, he was on that list.
But he's going to be on a Power 4.
It was also National Signing Day today on Wednesday, so we'll go through the players. We'll go through them as quick as we can. Anyway, there's 19 names, so bear with us. Skylar Warner, defensive tackle from Minnesota, the 10th highest ranked recruit in Minnesota, or because you wrote
in Minnesota. This is like out of everybody in Minnesota for 2026.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's
pretty good. Kai Schlichting, he's played running back at West Fargo Cheyenne. He's now going to transition to wide receiver, 6'2", 190 from Cheyenne. There's the long snapper in the class, Gabe Vernetti, long snapper. Jack Wilson, who follows. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it for the follow. 6'1", 220 linebacker, the 25th highest rated recruit in NDSU history, according to 24/7 Sports.
Yep.
Wow. Zach Hillendrung, 6'2", 250 from Boyce High School in Wisconsin. He's played defensive tackle. The 18th highest ranked recruit in Wisconsin, Kobe Russell, a cornerback, 6'1", 185 from Prescott High School. This guy had offers from Northwestern and Fresno State, so that's a pretty good one.
Yep.
Braden Dozier, his dad played football for Minnesota in college, 6-foot cornerback from Maple Grove High School, the 11th highest rated recruit in Bison history. Again, all according to 24/7 Sports.
Yep.
Miles Ellis, 5'10", 160. Posek sounded really high on him when he was on Dom's show this morning. 5'10", 160 from Illinois. His other offers, New Mexico, Air Force, Army, Marshall, Indiana State, and North Dakota. My favorite recruit in this class, Q Barnslater, 5'11", 165 from Apple Valley High School in Minnesota as a corner. His other offers, and he has some interest from UNI, Iowa State, and Kansas State.
It's pretty good.
I like that. Couple early guys are going to be coming to school early next semester, so they're going to enroll in school early. Earl Brown, 6'4", 290 at a Pillager High School. What are they feeding him up there in Pillager? My God, 6'4", 290. He'll be here next semester. I think Bison Nation's favorite recruit, Tucker Tieneman, the number 9 recruit in Wisconsin, 6'4", 300 pounds, Pewaukee High School in Wisconsin. He's the second highest rated recruit in NDSU history. Who was above him?
It was Jet Zabel.
Was it Jet Zabel?
Yeah.
Okay. The 9th ranked Wisconsin recruit. His offers, you might want to sit down before you hear his offers. Florida, Maryland, Missouri, and Ole Miss.
Lane Kiffin was
Those
after
are his
him.
notable offers.
Yeah.
I think he had others, but those were the big ones. So before Lane Kiffin went to LSU, he was looking at him. A couple other guys. There are a lot more guys. Gunnar Thielges, a safety from Lemoore High School in North Dakota. Trey McPartland, 6'4", another 270 guy. The first D1 athlete from Valley City High School to play football for NDSU. He'll be coming next year. Caden Ward, 6'2", tight end. He'll be here in January. From Lincoln Southeast High School. They recruit pretty well in Nebraska, I would say.
Yeah, it's okay.
If I mispronounce this name, I am so sorry. Godson Rufus Okamhanru, 6', 180. I think I got that right.
I think you nailed it.
I think I got it. Let's go. Mounds View High School in Minnesota. His other offers were military schools, Air Force, and Army. Still respectable offers.
Yep.
Daniel Devine, defensive end, 6'3", 225 from the Academy of Holy Angels in Minnesota. His brother Damien's already on the roster. He'll be a defensive end. The Jacks had offered Devine.
Oh, that's a shame.
Sorry. Cash Danner, again, he's becoming Twitter famous for his flipping his commitment from St. Thomas to NDSU during the middle of the game, but he's a Bison, 6'3", 220 tight end from Thompson High School. His other offers, let's see, I think it was just St. Thomas was his notable offer. Deron Russell, another loaded cornerback class, 6', 175 from Waseca High School in Minnesota. His offers, Colorado State, Montana State, North Dakota, Northern Iowa, South Dakota State, Washington State. That's a pretty good one the Bison got right there.
Yeah.
And then a couple that have been announced, but they're not, at least not on their social medias, but they've already signed. Jason Hunter from the greatest high school known to man, Fargo Davies, 6'4", 245 defensive end. He's been a tear at Davies for a couple years. And then Colton Gunderson is the last name for now, 6'5", 205 from Prior Lake High School in Minnesota. He flipped from Northern Iowa. He had interest from Minnesota, but he's a Bison guy. There's one other guy that they're interested in signing, and Tim had his phone on him in the press conference because he may get a call from the guy. We don't know who it is, but it's a skill position guy, and we may hear by the end of the week if he's going to commit or not. So we'll see. But Tim sounds very fired up about this guy, whoever it is.
It's exciting when he's
The hooded warrior we got coming here. Who knows?
And he takes press conferences seriously. So you know when he's gonna bail out on that, you know that's a big deal.
A couple things that we noticed: no quarterback. There's no quarterback in this class. That's because they signed 2 last year. They signed Xander Smith and they signed Preston Brown. From what we're hearing is that Preston Brown is probably that leader to be the starter not next year, but in the coming years.
Yep.
But we'll see on that. A lot of defense. This is a defensive focus class for sure.
Yeah, that's the secondary part that we've mentioned. It's like Jalen Duffy and Jaquise Alexander. Jaquise is going to be a senior next year. Duffy's going to be a junior next year. After that, we don't know who's coming in. He's loading up on defensive back.
I'd say, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but it's probably the area they're thinnest.
Yes.
I mean, you could say linebacker because of the injuries they have, but this is a position where I think you'd say they have 4 corners that play consistently. So Alexander, Duffy, ACA, and then probably Antoine Booth might be that 4th guy.
Yeah.
But now you can supplant the guys like Najee Nelson and Marion Moore with these younger guys coming in.
And they emphasized it a little bit last year too, and the safety with the safety, like Michael Ford, we saw what he could do. But is it Tucker Thieneman or Thieneman? You can write it down right now. He's going to be an NFL draft pick from NDSU.
Did you listen to the Hot Mic interview today? The guy sounds like an NFL talent.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously. So we could see in maybe, let's see, 2 years. So Bo Johnson, Ryan Babbitts, and Tucker Thieneman all on the offensive line.
That's scary.
I wouldn't want to get in front of that.
Griffin
Hogs,
Empey would be a senior.
Yeah, and Empey is still on there.
Yeah, man.
Good luck stopping these guys in the next couple of years. So, and also, all these corners, all 6 feet and above.
Yeah.
They are big. They're freakishly talented. I mean, if you guys get first downs on these guys next couple of years, good luck.
That never happens. I mean, usually the Bison emphasize the smaller, quick corners. These guys have all of it.
But they are that, but they're also 6 foot and above.
Yeah, that's what like Anthony Shadimi Alfaro is 6'2". And
if they're dating, they're breaking the Mendoza line on the girls, right? 6 foot and above. That's what you got to be.
Like ACA is 6'2", but he's not the fastest guy. No. These guys have that.
Yeah. Also, what they're going to have, what they do have, is pretty good in its own right. NDSU had 20 guys on the All-Conference Awards. Now, I know Dom threw a fit about it not being great or whatever. I thought they did pretty well. First team selections, I have them here and I'll read them off the screen. First team selections: Barika Penu, Truman Wermeyer, Bryce Lance, Trent Fraley, Griffin Empey, Bo Johnson, Keenan Wilson, Logan Kopp, Eli Ozick, Caleb Bowers. That's just the first team. Second team: Cole Payton, Carson Williams, Jackson Williams, Donovan Woolen, Toby Anene, Darius Gibbons, Jalen Duffy. I'm not done. Honorable mentions: Nathaniel Staling, Jackson Duneffer, Aaron Bickerton. I don't know how many guys are all on this list. There's, 50 guys on this list? Yeah. 20 of them are Bison. And Polsek was named the coach of the year.
Yeah, you can gripe about where where they are on this list. I mean, they're on it. That's what makes the difference. And the one thing I will complain about is Reese Kessel. I think he was the best tight end in the conference.
You can make that argument, yeah.
Grayton Gannon had a good year. He had more catches down the stretch, but yeah, I think Reese Kessel for sure should have been on here at least.
All right. So the play that was actually on the field last week, around the FCS playoff edition. We put this up on the screen when we had a second, guys. There it is. Rhode Island, they win their game. They beat Central Connecticut State 27-19, a game that I don't think either of us watched.
Nope.
Again, we'll go through these quickly. There's the updated brackets, so we'll just go through them as we go along. That's on the other side of the bracket. Abilene Christian defeats Lamar 38-20, another game I did not watch. No offense to any Wildcat fans out there, but your game was not interesting. Sorry. South Dakota over Drake 38-17. They beat it by the same margin they beat them the first time. Yeah. No surprise there. Villanova pounds Harvard 52-7. Ivy, what are we doing here?
I have no words. How do you were a top 10 team at one point and you got killed by Villanova.
We can put up the other side too if we got a second as well. It doesn't matter which order we do this. North Dakota, they beat Tennessee Tech 31-6. Did Tennessee Tech learn how to offense at all? It's amazing. Again, I put this in an article I wrote this week for the Spectrum. I looked at the Big South OVC. That might be the worst league in the FCS this year. There were a grand total of 2 teams with a winning record. Tennessee Tech was one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there were 6 teams or below 500 in that league?
And UND didn't even play well.
No.
They played terrible, if I'm being honest.
Commits get knocked out of the game and they scored 31 points.
So that Vesperis dude was terrible. And
Does he have pocket presence? I mean,
Yeah.
like he's holding the ball like a suitcase. I mean, it's like, what are we doing here?
I feel bad for if there is an Ohio Valley team that comes out of nowhere and is legit, like a Tarleton type of team. They're not going to get a top 8 seed because of what Tennessee Tech did. You have to prove it.
So we were griping about, well, Tennessee Tech got underseeded.
Yeah.
No, they
Guess
didn't.
not.
The committee knew. They knew better. Bill Chaves and his crew over there in Indy knew what they were talking about because they didn't show up. Lance Rucker had 3 sacks. I didn't see the official sack count because it didn't show up on ESPN.com and there's no press release for us to look at.
Yeah.
I think they have gotten to at least 8 times, if not more. They dominated Tennessee Tech.
It was brutal. I mean, Tennessee Tech couldn't do anything, and like I said, UND they didn't play well at all. If they play like that at Tarleton, no chance they win. That's how bad Tennessee Tech was.
That was horrible. A couple other games. You know what else was horrible? New Hampshire. South Dakota State 41-3. Great effort, New Hampshire. That was real good stuff. They just got pounded. It's like you can sync up your watch to it. Snow game, South Dakota State. They're gonna pound whoever they play. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, and we'll get to this in the tier list, but it's like everybody is freaking out now. I'm not on the bandwagon.
All right. A collective slap to the face for Youngstown State.
Yep.
You were up 42-14 and got outscored 36-7 in the second half, and they lose 43-42. Yale is smart. That's a smart team. You know why? Because they're going to go up 8, and then Pittsburgher takes a seat at the 1-yard line. That's why you go to Ivy League schools for stuff like that. They win 43-42. Then go back to the other side of the bracket quickly. The team is coming to the Dome this week. Illinois State. They defeat Southeast Louisiana 21-3. Apparently, these lower seeds did not learn how to play offense because that was all sorts of awful from what Southeast Louisiana put on the field. Because Carson Campley still has eligibility left. He shouldn't anymore.
Yeah, let's just have the Valley teams get seeded if they're 8-4. I don't care anymore. This is how bad the other conferences are. And the Youngstown's defense robbed us of Bo Brungard and Bozeman. That's all I'm going to say. That would have been a great game.
Oh, Brungard. If he's in the portal tomorrow, it wouldn't shock me at all.
Wouldn't shock me at all.
You got hot takes. What do you got?
Well, that got crossed off this week.
Got crossed off.
Yeah,
my fault,
so
my fault.
in week 2, basically, I think it was the first week of our show, I said Bison would have 5 first-team all-conference members on defense. They had 2.
Unless you count special teamers, and they have 4, but they don't count that.
They should have had at least 4.
You got screwed on the second one.
Yeah, the second one I said in week 6, which was 9 weeks ago, a little over 2 months ago. Reese Kessel, All-Valley newcomer. He should have been the newcomer of the year. He should have been first-team all-conference tight end. I don't get it. Whatever, I got screwed.
You got hosed. My hot takes this week, they're more reserved just for the game itself. I don't really need to go into more detail about the other games going on, but put these on screen when we can. Hot takes this week, I think the Bison scored 30+. They scored 33 against them the first time on October 4th. They didn't even play their best game.
Yeah.
They had 18 points going into the fourth quarter, and the Bison are at home. I like their chances. I think Illinois State's held under 16. They only got 16 the first time, and 2 points were aided off a safety. The Bison aren't going to make a ton of mistakes in this game. I'm not all that worried about Illinois State's offense because they only got 21. They got stuffed at the goal line 3 separate times on one drive. It took the blow-no special in order to get into the end zone on that 4th and goal.
Yeah.
Sobowitz held under 5 catches. This Bison secondary is a lot better than it was the first time they met. Sobowitz could get whatever he wanted in that game. I expect they'll put either Jaquise or they'll put Jalen on him, and he's not going to get more than 5 catches. Now, Luke Maylander may have more than 5 catches. I think that may happen, but I like our chances with our corners. Cole Payton, 3 touchdowns. I think first playoff game, hasn't played in a little bit. I think he'll be ready to go, and he'll get 3 touchdowns. And I am praying here on the last one. Can we get $15,000? We checked the tickets. It doesn't look good. Please support the boys. Politics down in the Union here, giving out Herd and Horns gift cards. Please show up to this game. I know we've already seen this movie once before. Show up to the games, please.
Yeah.
If you don't show up this week, show up to the rest of the postseason. Please support the boys.
We're at the point where we know that unless UND or SDSU is coming to the Dome, it's not going to be good until the semis, and it might not even be good in the semis this year because it's going to be Tarleton. They got to get there first. I mean, I know we've been spoiled with the fact that they get there every year, but let's support the team. This is an all-time Bison team.
Yeah.
I want to watch it.
It's got a case. It's got a case to be that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go into our tier. We're going to jump straight into it this time. Tier 1, our coach isn't leaving, and the flights are booked to Portland, Fargo, or Nashville. Let's go Nashville.
Yeah.
North Dakota State, Montana State.
Yeah, this is a sigh of relief for both fan bases, and it's pretty clear that these two are going to be meeting in Nashville unless a huge upset happens in Fargo or
maybe
in
Yale can pull it off. Who knows?
I'd be okay with that. Then we'd probably have the Grizz coming to, or we might have South Dakota State. But
I don't know if I want that again,
that'd
but
be-
oh
that'd be-
well, whatever.
They'd beat them this year. But yeah,
True.
anyway, it was just a sigh of relief when we heard the coaches were staying.
Tier 2, this again, you titled these. Soon to
Yep.
get exposed. Tarleton, Montana.
I think Montana is fraudulent. I'm just gonna say
Fraudulent.
whatever.
There you go.
Tarleton is pure off. They're Sam Houston. Let's just say it how it is. They might lose to UND. If they don't, they'll get exposed here, I think. Montana, if they don't lose to the Jacks, I think they're going to get killed in Bozeman in the semis. That's all I'm going to say.
Tier 3, our quarterback is back and our fans think we're winning it all. That's South Dakota State.
Let's relax. Chase Mason had a great day. He is not Cole Payton, and he's not even close. Let's see him against a real defense. And Montana doesn't have a real defense. He could go off again. Let's relax, Brookings.
It took us, let's check here, 14 years to win a road playoff game, but it's hockey season, so who cares? UND.
And they played terrible too. They backed their way into a road playoff win. I would be shocked if they're able to get to Fargo 3 road playoff wins. That'd be insane. I don't think they can do it. It's UND. They don't win on the road.
Especially if Rumfo's the quarterback.
Yeah,
because Kaminsky's in concussion protocol, and he may not come. He'll be back if they continue in the postseason. But Rumfo, if they got to depend on running the football, again, I don't know how good Tarleton's run defense is.
Yeah.
It's a Southland school or it's a UAC school, so I assume it's horrible. But we'll see.
Kaminsky, I was impressed with him up until the NDSU game. Rumfo was way worse than Kaminsky.
We saw that last year.
Yeah, he was just not good. Didn't have the tools.
Tier 5, more like we. We won't be consuming 1 minute of this game on Saturday. Lehigh, Villanova.
Yeah, it's the winner of this game is heading home the next weekend. It really doesn't matter. Villanova, I'll give Villanova their flowers. They've scored 52 on a team that almost was a top 8 seed. Lehigh is the most uninteresting top 8 seed I've ever seen. I'm not watching this game at all, and I don't care.
We totally didn't blow a 28-point lead. Youngstown State. What was that? Go ahead.
Like I said, they robbed us of seeing Bo Brungard and Bozeman. That would have been electric. Let's move on. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm so
Okay,
mad.
well, I'm going to talk about Tier 7 either. Frauds. The Ivy League will never get 2 teams because of you, Harvard.
Yeah, people were arguing for the Ivy to get more teams. Dartmouth was in that conversation midway through the year.
They were in our first 4 out, but they were never serious contenders to make the field.
But it's just it's like we talked about these other conferences. You have to prove it when you get in the playoffs to have future success, and the winner of the Ivy League will get in. They're never getting an at-large bid again unless somebody goes on a run.
Just because the FCS playoffs are in swing doesn't mean we can't do bracketology. We're going to do it now.
That's what we do best.
FBS bracketology. Let's do it. We're going to do this really fast. Ohio State would be the 1 because they would have beaten Indiana. Number 2 is Georgia because they would have beaten Alabama. Indiana is the 3. They're the runner-up. You're not going to punish them for losing to Ohio State. Texas Tech would be the Big 12 champion. They're number 4. Texas A&M would be 5. Oregon 6. Ole Miss 7. Oklahoma 8. Interesting thing at 9, depending on what happens, Notre Dame at 9, Alabama 10, Virginia at 11. Cross your fingers there, and North Texas gets the Group of 5 spot at number 12. So, I'm going to propose something here. Okay, this is what I think the FBS should be doing. Okay, if you want the Bison to move up so badly, this is what it would take for them to move up. Okay, make this very simple: 10 automatic bids. 14 at-larges, on-campus games from the first through the second round, higher seeds host, of course. If you want to do your BS bowls from there on out, you can do it through the quarters and before. This would get NDSU in. You know why? Because they would replace North Texas, Western Michigan, UNLV, Washington State, Jacksonville State, or James Madison in the playoff field. Just being honest here. That means everybody gets a seat at the table. Everybody gets a seat at the table when we do this stuff. So, if I look through all of this, and I look at it, let me see here. How many of those schools are Big Ten and SEC? It depends on what everybody wants to talk about, right? Is how many schools the Big Ten gets, how many the SEC gets. It should be half the field. Well, let's see. If I count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is great television. 6, 7. Let's see here. 8, 9, 10. I count 10 of the 24 teams are SEC or Big Ten.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make you happy, I can't help you.
It'll make Steve Sarkisian happy.
It might. It gets him in.
He's doing his sob story on the 9-3.
Yeah. So again, this gives everybody a chance. In the FCS, everyone gets a chance to win a national championship, even the Pioneer and the Ivy, even though they're glorified bye weeks for everybody when we play them in the postseason. This gives the MAC a chance. Oh, God, the MAC gets in. Oh, no, we should be shivering our boots about that. The Sun Belt gets in, so JMU is happy. Jacksonville State gets in because they would win Conference USA in this scenario. It gets North Texas in because they've been the American champion. And then Washington State gets in because they would have won the Pac-12. So Jimmy Rogers at 5-7 gets into the playoffs. So in this scenario, everyone wins.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wins. The SEC and the Big Ten get their teams. The Big 12 gets a team in. The ACC is guaranteed to get a team in. The Group of Five gets in. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's probably still going to be Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, whatever. Everybody wins, and the same team's still playing the playoffs. I like this format. I think this works.
Yeah, I like it too. I'll take you through my dream scenario.
Okay.
I think if the Group of Five and Power Four split, Group of Five has their own playoff. I don't care if it's 16 teams, if it's 24 like the FCS. Just something. Bring the NDSU and JMU playoff rivalry back. That'd be awesome. And then the CFP becomes a Power Four, 16 teams. Get rid of conference championships. They're stupid now. They were meaningful when you had 4 teams in because you needed to win that to get in. Now you don't. So just get rid of that. No bye week between the conference titles, which isn't a thing anymore in this scenario in the first round. So this weekend would be the first round of the CFP.
Love that.
Then you do back-to-back till the quarterfinals, semifinals, then that bye week where the other bowl games are going on for those teams. If we're doing bowl games anymore, I don't know what the heck's going on with that. And then the national championship is done New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, whatever you want to do.
At the Rose Bowl.
Yes, at the Rose Bowl.
Done.
Great.
We've solved college football in one day. There you go.
Then you have to please move signing day to January after the season is done.
Yep.
It's not going to happen. I get that. Have the transfer portal then too. The roster stuff needs to happen after the season. That way Lane Kiffin isn't leaving before the playoff run, or James Franklin isn't getting fired before the season's done. And plus you're not competing with the NFL in mid-January in their playoff run. December is for college football. January is for the NFL. There. We solved college football in 5 minutes, whatever that was.
Yeah. Again, if you want the Bison to move up, this to me makes the most logical sense. Is that it's something they're familiar with, and all they got to do is win their conference, and they're in.
Yep.
There isn't any of this. We got to see if North Texas loses or JMU can do this or if Duke does this. Yeah. The math is simple. Be one of 9 or 10 teams, like the Valley is right now. And I think the Valley is better than the MAC anyway. So
it is.
So that's why Missouri State's going bowling this year, because they're in a conference that's worse than the Missouri Valley Football Conference. So Tony Batiti, Greg Sankey, we are available to be consulted on this matter if need be. Anyways, so all right, let's talk about the actual game between Illinois State and NDSU. So Illinois State, the Bison are 2-0 against Illinois State in the postseason. The legendary 2014 national title game that the Bison won 29-27, and then the 2019 FCS quarterfinal game that if either team had an offense, it would have been a higher scoring game, but or if the Bison had a competent kicker, if it wasn't for Will Cardinal, it would have been like 15-3, but who cares? So the Bison are 2-0, trying to make it 3-0. Brock Spack, Illinois State head coach, said after the game in October, "I'm looking forward to playing them again." Well, baby, you got it. You're going to come here in the second round. So to preview Illinois State, I had a chance to talk with our guy from the Vedette, Jaden Cohn. We wrote an article. It's up on thespectrum.com. Ethan, I, and Jaden worked together on that. So to give us some insight on the Redbirds, here's my conversation with Jaden Cohn.
All right, Jaden. So first question for you. How bad has the weather been up there in Normal? Because it's been bad up here in Fargo.
Yeah, so Saturday we had about 4 or 5 inches of snow at home. So I'm about 2.5 hours north of Normal, but Normal got hit with, I think, 4 inches of snow. So the plowing system, it's been all right. Roads are still a little iffy. And then last night we had a lot of snow as well. So it's been a lot of weather here in Normal, but hopefully the game's not here, but
right.
It shouldn't be as bad as it is up in Fargo because you guys are a lot north of us. How has it been up there?
It's been, I don't know how I want to describe it, but it wasn't great. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. So like last Tuesday, was it? We interviewed Polasek at the Dome, And then that afternoon, we had finished taping the show and we were done. I'm in the Spectrum. Our office manager said, "Hey, can you lock up quick?" I said, "Yeah," because the weather was getting bad. I look out my window and I'm like, "Holy crap, I gotta get home." So my idiot took the interstate home. That wasn't my best
Mm,
idea, taking 994 back to my house in South Fargo. So I had to kind of guess where the on-ramp was and everything, but neither here nor there. But there's a roof over our head on Saturday, so we should be fine.
yeah.
From what I've been, from what we've been hearing through Don or everybody here in Fargo, is that the Redbirds didn't get home until Sunday. Was it Sunday? Because they couldn't fly home
Yeah.
Saturday because of the
Because
weather.
they were stuck in Louisiana for an extra night. So they won Saturday, and then they were planning on coming home that night, but
Right.
obviously the airports and stuff canceled, so they had to stay an extra night in the hotels, and they didn't get back until like Sunday afternoon.
All right, back to the football side of things. So describe this Illinois State offense right now because it's had its ebbs and flows, I would say, during the back half of the
Hmm.
season because they hung 35 on the Jacks in the first half. And then there was Southern Illinois where they scored seven in 4 quarters. So what's been the issue with the Redbird offense last couple of weeks?
So the I mean injuries are a part of the game,
Yeah,
but like you mentioned, Winker's Wright was finally healthy after missing a couple of weeks. He's able to come back and play against Southern Eastern Louisiana. So he's been paired well with Victor Dawson. Also, Sopkowitz was a little banged up. They kept him limited for a couple weeks in the middle of the season, and then he was able to come back and take over that number one receiving role. But it's also like the confidence in Rittenhouse. Sometimes he'll throw on the run and not set his feet, and that leads to those mistakes and those interceptions. And that's really one of the biggest things that I'm going to be looking forward to for this game is they need to eliminate the errors both offensively and defensively because when you're playing a team like the Bison who are the number one team scoring on defense at like 11 points per game, that can't happen. That can't
yeah.
give away free points.
Yeah. Talk to me about Victor Dawson a little bit because we didn't hear from hardly when we played the first time up in Bloomington Normal. We thought it'd be Mason King and Winkers Wright. When did Dawson become the lead back all of a sudden?
So it really started. I mean, I talked preseason with King. I know he went down with a knee injury last season. He was
Yep.
basically out all year. And then basically Dawson just came in. He started at McNamara College, which is a school down here in Illinois, and then he went to Cincinnati
Yep.
to transfer to the FBS level, and then he came here for his final year. So we actually got a story done on the Vedette website. Lucy Tomlinson wrote that, so that was pretty a good story to read over that. But he's just been tremendous in the backfield. He's his game and his personal life, like it's total opposite. He's a really chill guy, but on the field, he's able to just go out and explode. Like he had a over 50-yard run in one of the weeks earlier in the weeks. I think it was Morehead State, but he's just able to take over a game. And when you have Winkers Right go down, Dawson is able to sort of come in, be that spark plug, and resume where the back play is running.
So is King still hurt then? Because I think he has 9 carries for 50 some odd yards this year. What's the deal with Mason King?
I haven't heard much of him. I just sort of asked back a couple weeks back that Dawson's sort of been that number two guy,
Yep.
and I don't think King is getting that many. I haven't really heard much of what his deal is. Maybe they're keeping him on another year. I'm not sure.
In this day and age, another year may not be a thing. So who
I
knows how
know.
that's going to work. I know we texted about this. This is a sore subject for you. What happened against Southern Illinois?
It's really it was the turnovers really,
Yep.
and that's really where momentum shifted. Is it is also the run game too that the Redbirds just couldn't stop the running game of their quarterback, and he just ran all over the field. That's the same thing that happened with Youngstown State and Bo Brungard. Is he was able to come in and he scored 5 touchdowns himself. So when you're allowing these opposing quarterbacks, which I know your quarterback has wheels as well, you're going to have to shut them down, and
Mhm.
that's going to be the recipe for success for the Redbirds. But they really have to dial it down, both in the run game and the passing game.
As long as the Redbirds aren't Peyton's pommel horse, I think you'll be okay like he was earlier in the season. He leaped over the dude into the end zone. Tell me about Luke Maylander. Went from an unknown to the newcomer of the year in the
Mm-hmm.
conference this year.
So Luke Maylander, he's a great guy. I mean, I've talked about him prior when we last met a couple weeks ago, but he's a guy from York Community College, or York High School, I should say, which is by Elmhurst, like a suburb of Chicago. And he redshirted his first year, and then he came here. I talked to Spack sort of in preseason as well. I'm like, we lost Xavier Lloyd into the transfer portal to Mizzou. I'm like, who is going to be this next guy? And he said, watch out for number 84. And that is exactly what he's done. He's able to just go out, catch deep balls. He's able to go on a good like hook routes, end routes. He's just another good guy, and he's just great for this program, and it's great to see good flashes come, especially when Stopkowitz went down. Maylander was one of those bigger guys to step up and make those plays.
Yeah, that's a matchup I think we should be looking at because the Bison of Duffy and Jaquise Alexander, who are two guys that are probably been two of the better one of the better corner duos in the conference this season. What do you take away from Southeast Louisiana from that game? Because I'm channel surfing, Saturday afternoon watching that game. I'm like, man, that's a real clunker. You got stopped 3 times on the goal line, but you take a trick play in the normal special, call what you want to score that one touchdown. What do you take away from a game like that against a Southland school?
Yeah, I I mean, to begin with, it was a little scary, but once Spack decided to put in that little trickery, you need that, and that's could be your little engine juice, I guess, where you're being stale and you can't get anything going. Throw in a couple trick plays every once in a while, get your guys hyped up, let Rittenhouse go out and catch a pass. Like that is gonna bring life back into the stadium, and that really changed the momentum of the game. I mean, it was a really slow back and forth punt battle for that first half, but once that trick play happened, then the momentum sort of shifted, and then the Redbirds just sort of took control. Another thing I took away from that game was their defense. They had 4 interceptions, which like was great on paper. A couple of those, I believe, like the one to Niekamp, he just threw a bad pass, and Niekamp was just able to catch it over the middle.
Yep.
But that just shows that this team, I mean, they struggled defensively early on, but it's more confidence. And if they're able to just keep momentum going, it'll be good for them, especially against this tough North Dakota State offense.
You're saying nobody found the open linebacker better than Carson Camp. Is that what you're telling me?
One more time, you cut out.
So you're telling me that that nobody found the open linebacker better than Carson Camp?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do you think
Which,
Illinois
speaking
State...
of which,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Camp is also Normal native, so he
Oh,
threw
really?
it.
I did
So
not know that.
Normal Community and Normal West are like the two high schools in the area. So Camp went to Normal West, and then both Niekamp brothers went to Normal Community. So it was funny that sort of happened in a playoff game of like miles away from home for them.
I'm surprised Camp still had eligibility left because he was at South Dakota, then he went to
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento State, and then we thought he disappeared, and he ends up at Southeast Louisiana. Why do you think Illinois State has been more successful on the road this year than at home? Because all their losses have mostly been at home. So
Mm-hmm.
what's the deal with the road success, you think?
I think it's just like momentum wise. Like a lot of times, especially when they win, they go up and they score first. One of the games I'm thinking of right now is that South Dakota State game where they scored the 21 points in that first quarter. They just scored a lot on defense, a lot on offense, and when you get those gears moving, it really builds up the team's confidence, and that's really what you want in a team is to be able to just have great culture. And when you go in and step on the gas and not step on the brakes right away, then you're going to be in good shape the rest of the way. And they didn't slow down throughout the whole way. I mean, this sort of let South Dakota State come back a little bit, but their defense was able to hold them. And I mean, like I talked about, the Southern game is from the get go. Southern just came in with like an edge, and that's what led them to their downfall, is they weren't able to catch up to the Salukis, and that's why they lost that game.
Is there a position matchup or two you're looking at between the Bison and the Redbirds?
Like position, like receiver, cornerback, sort
Receiver
of.
versus corner, Peyton and Rittenhouse. What are we talking about? Is there like, this guy for the Redbirds against this guy for the Bison? Like, is there a matchup you're looking at that? Well, I'm looking forward to that matchup kind of thing.
I think they're gonna put Nakuba, who has 5 interceptions, on Lance. I
Yeah.
mean, that's gonna be a good matchup. I mean, Nakuba, he's just another guy who's just really stepped up this season. A guy who just transferred in. I believe his hometown is Louisiana, and he's just come in. The first 4 games, he was able to come in and get picks, but that's going to be a good matchup. I also want to see like the linebackers have done a great job with Camp leading the way. Obviously, he won the NBC Football Conference Defender of the Year, so he'll be leading them, looking down to shut down the run. But like you said, Jalen Duffy's a name I know pretty well because I went to
Yeah.
high school with him. So it'll be also interesting to see who he has guard. You said possibly Maylander, so that'll be a good
Yeah.
matchup to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I would look at the secondary for sure again. Bryce, I thought the Redbirds actually contained Bryce pretty well the first, I'd say three
Yeah.
quarters of that game. They had him defend. I can't remember if Nakuba got hurt or who got hurt, but it's like 2 plays later that kid gets hurt and Lance gets open for 25 yards down the sideline. That he may or may not have been in the end zone when he caught that pass, but we're not going to talk about that here in Fargo.
Mhm.
Um, what needs to happen in your mind to pull off the upset? Is it's stopping the run first and foremost? Is it getting turnovers? I mean, the Bison don't turn the ball over either, so it's a tough mountain to climb for Illinois State.
I say this for about every sport I talk about, whether it's football, basketball, whatever. The Redbirds just always have the ability. They play 3.5 quarters, and they don't play all 4 quarters. They like stop midway and they ease off the gas. In order to win, especially against the number 1 ranked team in all of FCS, you really have to play from whistle to whistle all the way through. You can't risk any turnovers. You can't risk any small mistakes because that's going to lead towards your downfall. And that's what really hurt them in earlier weeks. I mean, you put up a good fight them against, I believe, that first or second quarter, like they were just able to play end to end with the Bison, but they really need to dial it down, not make any mistakes, and they'll be in good shape to possibly pull off an upset.
Yeah, because they've only played twice for one in the playoffs, and they're both within 6 points. I mean, if the thing with Illinois State in the playoffs is if they have an offense, they
Mm-hmm.
can cause some damage. The problem is they haven't really had any of that offense. 2019, it was 9-3, whereas James Robinson left right up the middle. And they just could not generate any offense because Bryce Jefferson looked overwhelmed in that game. Speaking of quarterbacks, Rittenhouse never played inside the Fargo Dome. He was on the roster in 22 last time they came up here. Do you
Yep.
think the noise is going to affect him at all? I mean, the crowd can be between 11,000 to 15,000. So is that going to affect him at all, you think?
I think a little bit to begin with. You're going to see a little bit of those nerves, especially for a quarterback entering in a very hostile environment, and you're not used to a big atmosphere like that yet. I mean, but you've talked about it before about they've are undefeated this season in FC in NBC play when going on the road. I mean, they lost week 1 to Oklahoma on the road, but that was
We'll
expected.
forgive you for that one.
But it's just it's a new atmosphere. He may be a little shaky to begin with, and then by the second, maybe third quarter, then he'll pick it up, find his reads, and that's where the defense really needs to step up for Rittenhouse. Is they're obviously going to be slow to begin with, but in order to win this game, you have to play fast, and that's what they're going to have to do to win.
Yeah. How does Illinois State in your mind stop the Bison offense? They've scored 40 points in almost everybody this year. They still put 33 on Illinois State when they didn't play the best game, in my opinion. So is it Nakuba? Is it Niekamp playing out of their mind? Like who has to step up to stop this Bison offense that's just put it on everybody this year almost?
It's really going to be a combination of everyone. I mean, you obviously can look towards Ty Camp, who's obviously leading this defense and leading all the NBC football conference overall. Like he has a spotlight on him, but you can't just rely on one guy. You have to play as a team and you have to come together each drive. You basically have to work and be like, hey, they're going to be running this play. This is what we're going to do to prevent them here. If they're going to be running a run play, we have to work on shutting them down here. It's about playing team and team. You can't just throw one person under the bus because that's just not going to shut down this really heavy offense.
All right, thanks to Jaden for giving us 15 minutes of his time. Sorry that went longer than I anticipated, but oh well. I think he gave us a pretty good inkling of what this Illinois State team is. Like they're good. I don't think any of us are disputing how good they are. It's a Valley team. I think they've caught NDC's attention because they've played them once this year, and they got some athletes. That's for sure.
Yeah, and they're road warriors. They've been way better on the road than at home, which is
unbeaten
weird.
on the road this year.
Yeah, so it's going to be a challenge.
So again, just looking at the numbers again on them, the numbers aren't going to wow you when it comes to how they played against Southeast Louisiana, but overall, 51 touchdowns, 30 points a game, 369 yards per game. Sobkowitz, Maylander, Winkers Wright, Victor Dawson, Rittenhouse has gotten better.
Yeah.
Offensive line's a little banged up, as Jaden alluded to, so we'll see how they hold up on the front lines. But they got athletes on the outside that can hurt NDSU.
Yeah, that's what they're going to have to go to him too. I mean, they're not going to run the ball down NDSU's throat. That's not their game anymore. They're going to try at the start, I'm sure. But Sobkowitz is their guy. He's their Bo Belquist in a sense.
Defensively, again, they got guys there too. Tiny Camp won Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. Shadwell Nakuba had Bryce on in clamps for a lot of that game until he got hurt, and then Bryce scores on the next play. But again, same thing. What should worry Illinois State is that, I think I wrote this in the article too, when the Bison just wanted to run out of the pistol and just run the ball, they couldn't stop. I think it was 237 yards or something. It was something in that ballpark. The Bison could do whatever they wanted on the ground in that game, so I wouldn't be all that concerned with their front four. Now, Niecamp's a good player, Nakuba's a good player. They have some pieces, but I think the Bison should be okay on
yeah, and I think Bryce Lance needs to be more of a factor than he was in that first game.
Yes.
It felt like they waited too long, and whether that was because he was getting double teamed or whatever, I can't say I was like paying attention to that part, but they need to get him the ball in some way.
We're not going to pick the playoff games because we've already gone through our pick stuff, but I'll read them off, and you can give me because you want to do your winners and things like that this week. So the Bison are a 23.5-point favorite against Illinois State. That's high, in my opinion. I think it should be like 17, 18, maybe. 23.5 is too high. The rent is too damn high on that one. Montana State, they're a 20.5-point favorite against Yale. Montana, 1.5-point favorite at Wagriz against the Jacks. Tarleton's a touchdown favorite against UND. Lehigh, 4.5-point favorites against Villanova. Mercer is a 6.5-point favorite against South Dakota. Stephen F. Austin's a 4.5-point favorite over Abilene Christian. And UC Davis, 5.5-point favorite against Rhodey in their second round playoff game. So what do you got for your winners this week?
I think Illinois State plus 23.5 is a safe pick. Being the betting man that I am,
Always knew you were that.
Yeah, the Bison should win though. But 23.5 is insane.
No.
Yale 28.5 underdogs. I can't pick a spread in the playoffs. 28.5. I'm gonna take Yale plus 28.5. South Dakota State, Montana, basically a pick 'em. It's in Missoula. Even the Bison couldn't get it done there. I don't think the Jacks do. I got Montana. UND is a 6-point underdog. The question at quarterback is what kills me.
Yep.
I still think that they keep it to a one-score game, but I got Tarleton winning. Villanova, Lehigh, again, I'm not watching this game, and I don't care about this game. I'm not going to bet on this game. Villanova is going to win it outright. South Dakota, 6.5 underdogs. It's a Valley team. Mercer doesn't stop anybody. And South Dakota's won some shootouts lately.
They have.
So I'm going to take South Dakota outright to win. Abilene and Stephen F. Austin, they played earlier this year. Abilene beat them. I've got them beating them again. And then UC Davis, Rhode Island. The only reason I'm watching this game is because it could determine who the Bison are going to play, and it's at nighttime.
Yeah.
So UC Davis minus 5.5, and I'm not going to think twice.
All right, to close, Twitter questions. If you had any, we got 3 of them this week, so we'll answer them here. Thomas the Train on X asked, I'll ask this to you, Ethan. Was Yale coming back to win more how good Yale is or how bad Youngstown's defense is? Youngstown's defense was ranked 93rd in scoring defense.
I think the popular pick is saying Youngstown's defense. I'm going to say Yale. I think Yale's...
Poffenberger is a hell of a player.
He's a dude. He's going to get poached by somebody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's where we live, the world we live in. Youngstown, you can't score 42 points and lose in any game, especially when you're up by that much in the third quarter.
Yeah, watching that game back again, I was flipping back and forth. I didn't see a lot of the game. I watched the comeback, and it was just we knew Youngstown was capable of collapsing on themselves if they couldn't muster offense, they were going to get behind. I thought they would be okay up 42-14 in the third, but I guess that wasn't enough. So I think I was more impressed with Yale than I was with Youngstown. Youngstown, Doug Phillips finished second in Coach of the Year voting. Good coach.
Yep.
He got out-coached. He had deer in the headlights look in the second half.
Yeah.
Brungard had no answers. I think Youngstown just outplayed him in that second half. Plain and simple.
I mean, the coach, he was, like you said, a deer in the headlights. He pissed down his leg. I mean, that's what happened. You're up by 28. I just don't get it.
I'm not going to try to say, but something coach on X. I'm not going to try to say that first thing. The last time NDSU hosted Illinois State in the playoffs was an undefeated team led by Trey Lance. It was one of the lowest scoring playoff games NDSU has had. That's accurate. Mm-hmm. What are the chances that will happen again?
I could see a low-scoring game. Illinois State was so much more put together back then. Their O-line and D-lines were up there with NDSU.
They had John Ridgway in there went to go play at Arkansas, so they had some good players up front.
And I think what offsets it is like they had a run game. They did not have a pass game that year. This year it's the reverse. They don't really have a run game. They can pass the ball a lot. They're built more like a Big Sky team this year than they were back then.
Yeah.
So I could see it being close. I don't see a 9-3 game. I like the 2019 comparison though because it's a one and done quarterback.
Yeah.
Different scenarios, but very similar.
Let's be clear. Bryce Jefferson could hit the broadside of a barn in 2019. He was so bad throwing the football that year.
And he was their starter 2 years later
too.
too.
I think about that and I go, okay, the Bison were their backup kicker because Griffin Croser was suspended for team rules. Don't know what that team rule was. So Will Cardinal, I think was a redshirt freshman, was kicking that game. He gave me Cam Peterson flashbacks. It was bad. Oof. He made 3 field goals. He missed 2 others, I want to say.
Yeah.
And Illinois State had James Robinson and nothing else.
Yeah.
So there's more talent on the field than there was on the Illinois State sideline 2019 offensively. I think the Bison can, again, if they run the ball, play action, if Peyton does what he does, this should be a higher scoring game than it was previously. Mm-hmm. Last question we have. I mean, we appreciate all the questions. Please send us more if you have them on DMs and whatever. We know Nathan Hayes can ball. Do you think the 2024 QB room of Cam Miller, Cole Payton, Nathan Hayes could be the best overall in NDSU history, and where does it rank overall in college football history? That might be a stretch, but at least the first part of the question.
Yeah, I'm with them. I think in NDSU history, you think of they had Brock Jensen and Carson Wentz in a room. They had Carson Wentz and Easton Stick in a room. They had Stick and Lance in a room. They never had 3 guys that went on to be starters at the same time. I think this could be the best. It depends on if Nathan Hayes can play. We don't know yet, which I think he can.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, I think it is, as of now, yes, number 1.
Jokingly, I think the best one overall was Peyton Manning and Todd Helton when they played at Tennessee. That might be the best one. A first base Hall of Famer for the Rockies, and then arguably the greatest quarterback ever. So that might be better than this one, but it's close.
Yeah.
So again, score prediction for this game. We wrote in our article. You can watch it. You can read it on thespectrum.com. I got 31-14 NDSU. Again, I said it scored 30+, hold them under 16. I got slightly over and under in those departments. I think the Bison, they get a lead, and they're able to keep Illinois State at bay. They have talent. I want to just say that as much as I can. Illinois State's talented, but this Bison defense is just ridiculous. I think the Bison get ahead. Maybe Illinois State gets a late score to get it closer. Make the Bison get this one.
Yeah, I was leaning the same way, but what brought me back is it's like whenever they play a Valley team twice, it seems like the second time it's closer. I have a Bison
mixed bag of that.
Yeah, I have a Bison 27-17 win. I think it's probably 27-10 in the fourth quarter, and they score late, like you said. But it's just something about Illinois State. I just can't get that 2019 game out of my mind. But yes, this team is much. Illinois State is more talented on offense. They don't have the trenches to hang with the Bison, I think.
All right, number 1 NDSU, Illinois State, noon on ESPN+. Bison 1660's got the radio call for you. The game is, again, ESPN+, but WDAY will have their Bison Game Day show at 10 a.m. We're coming up on an hour, so we'll stop while we're ahead. So for our great crew in the back, Nathan Eibach on the set, this is Grant Harper. This has been the Bison Overtime Show. Horns up and go Bison. We'll see you next week.